Everything changed on an ordinary Saturday morning while I was holding my 3-month-old baby boy in my arms. My wife had gone upstairs to take a shower, leaving her phone on the kitchen table beside a pile of baby bottles. It buzzed, and without meaning to, I glanced at the screen. The message was from her boss asking how our son was doing today. Before I could convince myself I had misunderstood, another message appeared saying he still could not believe the old man thought he was the father. My blood ran cold. I opened the conversation and found months of messages, pictures, and cruel jokes about me. They laughed about how I was happily raising another man's child without suspecting a thing. I quietly took screenshots and sent every one of them to his wife. Less than 30 minutes later, the man himself was standing on my front porch demanding to know what I had done. When my wife came downstairs and saw him, the truth was written all over her face before she said a single word. I asked the only question that mattered. Was the baby really mine? She could not answer. That silence shattered everything I believed about my marriage. I immediately called my attorney, arranged a DNA test, and started preparing for the fight ahead. The hardest part was looking down at the little boy sleeping peacefully in my arms because no matter what the test would reveal, I already loved him with all my heart. A few days later, the DNA results confirmed my worst fear. I was not the biological father. I expected to feel anger, but instead I felt overwhelming grief. The test changed biology, but it did not erase every sleepless night, every feeding, every smile, or every memory we had already shared. While I struggled to process the betrayal, another painful truth surfaced. My wife had not only cheated on me with her boss, but she had also been secretly sharing confidential information from my trucking company with him. Vendor lists, pricing details, and business contacts that had taken me decades to build had been handed over in exchange for money. Suddenly, my marriage was not the only thing under attack. My business, my reputation, and the livelihoods of hundreds of employees had also been put at risk. During those difficult weeks, I continued caring for the baby even though I knew he was not biologically mine. He recognized my voice, reached for my hand, and fell asleep in my arms every night. My grown daughter reminded me that I had been manipulated, but I also knew the child had done nothing wrong. He was innocent in a situation created entirely by adults. That realization became the hardest emotional battle of my life. Loving him no longer felt simple, yet abandoning him felt impossible. The boss's wife reached out after receiving my screenshots, and together we uncovered an even larger trail of evidence. Secret payments, hidden consulting fees, private emails, and financial records proved that the affair had become a business scheme. Every new document revealed another lie. My attorneys built separate legal cases for the divorce, the paternity issues, and the theft of confidential company information. Instead of reacting with revenge, I focused on facts, documentation, and patience. I refused to let anger make me careless because I wanted the truth to destroy their lies, not my emotions. The turning point arrived when my wife's lover prepared to accept a prestigious business award, honoring integrity, family values, and leadership. Together with his wife and our legal team, we decided the truth deserved to meet him on the very stage where he planned to celebrate his reputation. We gathered every document, every invoice, every email, and every piece of evidence before the event. There would be no yelling, no public scene, and no emotional outburst, only facts presented at exactly the right moment. As he proudly stood before hundreds of business leaders talking about honesty, family, and trust, his wife calmly walked onto the stage carrying a folder filled with proof. She announced that she had filed for divorce and that evidence of financial misconduct and personal deception had already been delivered to attorneys and company officials. I then stepped forward and explained how confidential information from my company had been stolen and used for his personal gain. When he tried to dismiss everything by calling me a bitter old man, I simply reminded him that trust is never weakness, and that every accusation against him was supported by documented evidence already in the hands of lawyers. The room fell silent as the truth replaced the image he had carefully built for years. The award was quietly withdrawn, business partners began distancing themselves, and his perfect public reputation collapsed within minutes. My wife stood in the audience watching everything unfold, finally realizing that every lie had led to this moment. Neither of them had been destroyed by my actions. They had destroyed themselves the moment they believed deception would never be exposed. Looking back, I realized the greatest lesson had nothing to do with revenge. Money can be rebuilt. Businesses can recover. Reputations can heal. What truly matters is character. Betrayal may steal your peace for a while, but integrity eventually gives it back. I may have lost my marriage and discovered heartbreaking truths about the people I trusted most, but I refused to lose my dignity. The little boy who changed my life forever reminded me that love is measured by actions, not biology. In the end, honesty outlasted every lie, patience defeated manipulation, and the truth accomplished what anger never could.